And I'm live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday night chill stream. It is Sunday, October 19th, 2025. Yeah, Sunday, I think it's the 19th. Anyway, we didn't have any work today. We had work yesterday, but no work today. And it was really kind of sucked because it was such a gorgeous day. I wish I could have went out and done something else, but instead of waiting around, I was like whatever cleaning stuff and uh, doing like apartment maintenance and not going out on a perfect full 75-degree day. It was sunny and fucking with a little breeze. Anyway, whatever. This is life. We got something of a show to do. Although I don't have a tremendous amount of videos and stuff. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on right now. Everything's kind of, I guess they're going to let the holidays pass and then, I don't know, kick something off. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff I noticed like just isn't happening. One of the things I saw was like they're going to have Tucker Carlson debate Nick Fuentes or some shit like that. So little Nicky getting pushed to the forefront again. So what the purpose of that is, I don't know. You know, he was a part of that whole January 6th. Here comes the storm. We're going to take back our country thing. But they had been building that up, you know, the QAnon thing, the online, provocations and buildup was really huge leading up to that. So I don't think that's happening now. And I don't think people give a fuck now anyway. I mean, people are looking at the grocery bill. They're not thinking about whatever flags and eagles and shit. So I don't. I'm not sure what they're doing with that. And they don't see. The other thing I don't seem to see. There's no more Nazis anymore. We're fucking Nazis on every overpass in America for like the entire fucking beginning of the year. I guess the FBI is busy doing something else. All the feds are busy doing something else. The Patriot Front guys, they're all busy doing something else. And they don't have the new Black Panthers anymore. They got the Hebrew Israelites. Again, everybody seems preoccupied. They're not, the whole race war thing, which a narrative they love to push and something they would love to kick off. Doesn't seem to be coming together this year. I don't know why. Maybe they're saving it for next year. Maybe they're saving it for 2026. In the meantime, everything, or maybe they're just, the whole Israel-Gaza thing, the Jewish power thing in America. I think they succeeded with the Nick Fuentes, with the various different social media agents, provocateurs, Andrew Tates, that kind of things, those kind of guys. I think they succeeded maybe too well. You know what I mean? I think they were hoping to get enough people that were doing anti-Semitisms so they get some laws passed or something to restrict the First Amendment or whatever, restrict the Second Amendment. But I think it's now so fucking out of control. Like they succeeded beyond their wildest dreams because everybody's noticed now. Like literally everybody. And I think they're victims of their own success, and I think they don't know how to get out of it. I think they don't know how to get out of it. They're sort of they're lost in that. In the meantime, we're wondering like what's going on. One of the things I've been wondering is like what's happening with Bitcoin. I noticed that the price is doing nothing. It's just going sideways all year for $100,000. And of all the stuff that's floating around, everybody's talking about collapse this and collapse that. And I'm convinced now that they're all wrong. And here's what I think is going to happen. The reason why I call tonight's stream Trick or Treat is because this is the trick I think that America is going to pull, that the U.S. federal government is going to pull on the world. And they're going to do it because they did it before and or they did something like it before. And you have no alternative because there's no alternative. So if you remember the beginning of this Trump administration, they were talking about auditing Fort Knox. Oh, we're going to audit Fort Knox. We're going to find out if the gold is really there. And I remember hearing that, and I was like, oh, the gold is in Tel Aviv or something. Even I said shit like that. But the whole audit Fort Knox thing, I think, is going to come back in a big, big way because the right now the price of gold is like $4,300, like super all time high. And so you go, well, so what? Well, here's the thing. The dollar's in trouble. It's in real fucking trouble. Nobody wants to buy the bonds. Nobody believes that America's going to be going for the next 30 years. They don't know what to do. The amount of gold in Fort Knox is, I don't know what the fuck it is, like 8 million pounds or 80 million pounds or some, I don't know, or 800 million ounces or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know what it is. It's something with an 8. And as far as the government is, the US federal government's concerned, the price of that gold, they're pricing that gold at I think it's $42 an ounce. That's what they say the gold is worth. And that's the price that it was worth in like 1950. And a couple of people have theorized that the way the government's going to extend dollar dominance, right, and avoid collapse is, here's what they're going to do, is they're going to reprice their assets, the gold in Fort Knox, at the current gold price, or maybe let the gold price go run a little higher. Which, if they did that, if all the gold in Fort Knox is valued at $42 an ounce, and then overnight becomes valued at $4,300 an ounce, or $4,500 an ounce, or $5,000 an ounce, well, what does that do? What that does is the value of that gold goes from whatever the fuck it is, goes to about 15 or 20 trillion dollars. And if they do that, they cut the deficit in half. The $37 trillion we owe, well, you don't have to worry about it because look at all this gold we have, and the gold is worth 17 trillion. And that extends dollar dominance. And then the other thing they do is they don't sell 30-year bonds to foreigners. We just buy them ourselves. Then they use the stablecoin bros to buy 2-year government bonds. Even though the stablecoin bros, they're about as skillful as you might imagine. They accidentally printed $300 trillion in stablecoins. Oopsie, I hit the wrong button. But this aside, the stablecoin issuers, the digital dollar, essentially digital dollar guys, have to promise to buy so much government debt. So that's the other way they get out of it. They reprice gold from $42 in Fort Knox, the price from whatever, 1952, price at today's current price, that knocks off half the deficit, and then they knock off the rest with stable coins. The dollar destroys every other currency on the face of the earth. Everybody's doing the stable coin thing on their phones. America gets a second chance, right? The 250-year anniversary comes up, and instead of America going under, we get a reprieve. I think that's what they're likely to do. And the reason why they can do it is because the same way they went off the gold standard, they can go back on it, right? When they went off the gold standard, the way that happened was the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1946. We told the Europeans, if you just accept the dollar as as currency in your country, you can, in future, recover, get gold back in return. We'll give you gold at $35 an ounce. And the Europeans went along with that for a while until the early 1970s. And the French said, you know what? We don't want these dollars anymore. Let's go back and get our $35 an ounce gold. And that's when we went off the gold standard, right? And then the money printer really took off. But America got away with it because there was no other fucking choice. There was no other choice. And if we go back on the gold standard, we reprice the gold in Fort Knox from the $42 or whatever it is currently valued as, we'll bring it up to the current $4,300 or $4,500 or $5,000 gold. That knocks half the fucking $37 trillion deficit out. Just knocks it out with an accounting trick. And I think that's what they're going to do. And what are you going to do about it? Because the Chinese yuan is not is not capable of taking over for the dollar. The BRICS currency is a joke. Bitcoin is nowhere near there. Bitcoin is a tiny little $2 trillion thing. Would have to be like Bitcoin would have to be like $500 trillion first, and that's not happening anytime soon. So I think they're going to pull that accounting trick and then do the stable coins, buying the government debt, and the U.S. dollar dominance extends into the future, not as a paper receipt, but as the stable coins, as digital dollars. I think that's how it happens, and I think, like I said, nobody can. What are you going to do about it? There's a great fucking point here. Iran's currency has plunged. Iran, our primary geopolitical opposition in the Middle East. Iran's currency has plunged to so much value that Tehran plans to chop 4 zeros off their rial, whatever. I guess the dollar bill is called a rial. So the value of the rial, you have to pay 100,000 rial to get an apple. So well, we're going to take 4 zeros off that, and you only have to pay 1,000 rial for an apple. The problem with that is, is it this one? No, not that one. No, not that one. No, not that one. Where's the other fucking thing? I had it. I put it up there. I guess I didn't put it up there. I did. Seriously, bro? Like, seriously, bro. I'll just throw it up again real quick. I don't know why it didn't go up, but the problem being, where is it? Here we go. Oh, I did. I know I marked it up. So they approved removing 4 zeros from its national currency, the rial, aiming to simplify transactions after years of high inflation. However, residents and shopkeepers in Tehran expressed skepticism that the monetary overhaul will meaningfully address the root causes of inflation. Yeah, because the money printer is still going. Your government just going, no, that's not what it costs anymore. It costs this for people who have to buy food over there and whatever, do everything. It's once again, it's the money printer versus reality. And the Iranians, listen, where are they going to go, right? They're international pariahs. They have to put up with this. But how well this is going to succeed, I think, is not very well at all. But and Iran can do that. Oh, they feel like they can do that because the people have no choice. But as soon as the people have a choice, they're going to choose stable coins or U.S. dollars, digital dollars, which are going to be flying around the planet at the speed of fucking light. And that's what we're going to do. And Iran's going to lose because none of them, not one of these fucking elites, not one of these fucking leaders, nobody at the top ever sees the problem and how to solve the problem. They just fucking don't. Because for them, it's not really a fucking problem. You know what I mean? For them, it's never really a problem. I mean, they got to worry about getting like a coup or somebody coming in, like America coming in and taking over. But bottom line, the people at the top, the elite level fucking Iranians are living lovely lives. And they don't, if they want to chop up the money and rearrange the fucking numbers, they feel like they can do it. And anybody that opens their mouth, they're going to get fucking hit in the head with a policeman's nightstick or they'll get thrown in prison or whatever. And this is the bosses getting it fucking wrong forever and ever and ever. And until fiat currency dies, this is the way the fucking world is going to go until fiat currency dies. In the meantime, we have other in talking about what's happening with Bitcoin, this is a great, whoever's doing this, whether intentionally or unintentionally, is not doing anybody any favors right now. Saying that Donald Trump is one of America's biggest Bitcoin investors. Now, how true that is, I don't know. This comes from Forbes. But here's the thing, Donald Trump is not really a real estate guy anymore, and he has not been a real estate guy for for decades. I remember in the early 2000s, I was still in the taxi business. The guy I worked for had a condo in Florida and some property and whatever, blah, 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 blah. And he was talking about someone he knew in the Florida real estate business that had an entire building of condominiums that were really, whatever. They were pretty nice condos, I guess. They were like, the guy wanted like $125,000 per unit. Couldn't sell any fucking units. The Trump people, or he got in touch with Trump, or Trump got in touch with him, and Donald Trump came to the guy and gave him this offer. He said, listen to me. He said, I'm going to put my name on top of your building. He says, and we're going to call it a Trump property. He said, and I will make sure you get $125,000 per unit. He said, but everything over $125,000 per unit, I keep. And this guy thought, well, whatever, I'll try it. Trump slaps his name up on there. Again, this is the early 2000s, 20 some odd years ago, when the Trump name in real estate was still a big deal. And they repriced every fucking unit to like $400,000. And they sold like within 6 months, they were all fucking sold. So the guy who bought the property, developed it, built everything, did every fucking thing, right? He gets $125,000 per unit. Trump, or the Trump organization, gets $250,000 a unit for putting a sign on top, right, of Trump's name and doing nothing else. And at the time, the guy I was working for in the taxi business was like, oh, Trump's such a genius, this and that, blah, 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 blah. But his brand back then in real estate was so powerful that he could get away with that. And his brand today, whether you love him or hate him, and I think a lot more people hate him, can be used to negative effect, right? And that's why when you see stories like this, like Trump owns $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, or he's America's biggest Bitcoin investor, everyone, all of these kooky leftists who are suffering from the effects of inflation, just like everyone else, will, in their mind, they will associate Bitcoin with Trump, and they will talk about miss the fucking boat. They are seriously going to miss the fucking boat because they think that boat is filled with orange Hitler. And that's going to have stories like that are going to have a much fucking deeper fucking negative impact than anything else. In the meantime, what's curious is I mentioned this last time, the Chinese woman that scams people out of $5 or $6 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now the UK says that they aim to repay the Chinese victims. It's going to be interesting to see if they get it back or not. It's going to be super interesting to see if they get it back. Because the other thing was this one. The Department of Justice seized $15 billion in Bitcoin from a massive pig butchering scam based in Cambodia. Apparently some Cambodian dude, he's got British, Cambodian, and Chinese citizenship, also did this Bitcoin scam thing. And DOJ says they got 127,000 Bitcoin from this guy they seized, and he had them in 25 separate cold wallets. So they didn't break into the cold wallets. They must have found a ledger with all the fucking access code, with all the PIN numbers or whatever. So you really want to rethink, I don't mean you, because you don't have 127,000 Bitcoins, but the government, comes in and grabs these people. All of these thieves, they leave all the Bitcoin in one place. They always leave it all in one fucking place. It's always in one fucking lump that someone else can just come and steal. That was true with the fucking Bitfinex hackers. That's true with various different ones. These thieves, once they've got it, they don't think, well, I need to put it in 10 different places. I need to make it really difficult to get access to. They're just drunk with fucking wealth and power. And they figure, nothing can stop me until somebody kicks the door in. And it's the DOJ. And by the way, it says DOJ. That means CIA. God bless the CIA. They can actually go track these motherfuckers down and actually find a criminal organization and shut it down. But will the DOJ give that money back, or give that Bitcoin back to the people that was stolen from? That would be That would be super interesting. That in the UK, that's interesting to me. Like, what are they going to do, or are they going to keep it? You know, that would be that to me is the most interesting question. Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. So I don't know how that's going to go, but it is. It's interesting. It's interesting because this when the big collapse does come, and that may be for another. This fucking gold repricing stable coin fill-in thing could extend the dollar dominance another 50 years, like another 50 years, way past my lifetime. So, like the same way that the petrodollar, when we made the deal with the Saudis in the 1980s, that lasted until like a couple of years ago, this stablecoin thing could go at least 50 years or maybe further. And then what happens in the meantime? I don't know. But this, there's the obvious thing to see clearly what's going on is hard, because if you hate Trump, you hate Bitcoin. But here's an interesting list of this is from BlackRock. This is you see that there at the top, it says their iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF is their number one ETF with 97,779,000. That's over 100. It's over $100 billion in Bitcoin. And you say, well, so what? But if you look at the line I drew on the right, it achieved that in 1 year. Okay. And the ones underneath it, the Russell 1000, the whatever those other fucking things are, the S&P one, the gold one, all these other ETFs, they also hit $100 billion. But look at the number of years it took to get there, right? Bitcoin hit it in 1 year, right? The Russell 1000 took 25 years. The Gold Trust took 20 years. The emerging markets took 22 years. The S&P 500 growth took 25 years. So the amount of money pouring into Bitcoin is much, much larger than you think it is, at a much higher rate than you think it's flowing in. And you might ask, well, why is the price doing what it's doing? And I don't have an answer for that. I do not have an answer for that. But if you think that all of this stuff is being forgotten, the UK grabbing that Chinese woman and the CIA grabbing this Cambodian dude, there's still an intense fucking interest on the part of governments in this asset, and you should be paying attention. Where's this one I meant to show last week, but this is as good a point to show it as any.
This SBR, essentially, as Chekhov's gun, has been put on the table, and we're in Act 1, and everyone knows it's on the table, but everyone's pretending it's not there. And I think just the plot has to evolve before you get to Act 3, when some conditions change, and now the gun is picked off the table and is used in the plot. And so it's a lot happening behind the scenes, of folks in the security domain are very interested in the concept of an SBR. But right now, the distribution of political capital between, say, Treasury Department, the White House, the Pentagon, the intelligence community, other kind of key political stakeholders in Congress have not aligned, right, on exactly how to handle something like the SBR. And so in that divergence of opinion, it's in stall mode, and there's other priorities that they want to push. A lot of it comes down to how much is the public going to clamor for? One, give us an inventory of how much Bitcoin do you actually have. You said you were going to do that. I understand it took a while for them to do that inventory. There might be other reasons why that they don't want to say. And then, are you going to commit to adding? And what are these budget neutral means of potential acquisition that have been identified? What progress has been made? My understanding is that it's actually quite more technically difficult than they thought to do the budget neutral acquisition.
Okay, so this is the strategic Bitcoin reserve. The intelligence community wants it, and Congress and the White House hasn't lined up on it yet. And there's a number of reasons why, because it would destroy the dollar. And the purpose of the US government is to extend the dollar and the power of the dollar around the globe to keep the fucking Federal Reserve Bank as the most powerful institution on the face of the earth forever. So they still want to kill the dollar. They're CIA who can do math. You know what I mean? They can be dorks like fucking Kiriakou and that guy Michael Schur. Like that, they can have this weird sort of naivete, but they can do math and they can look at history and they can go, hey, this financial thing, man, we could go Weimar, we could end up like Venezuela, we could end up like the Lebanese lira, we could end up like all these other places. What's to stop it? The questions I asked, what's to stop the money printer from just bleeding out the dollar? And the answer is there's nothing to stop it. So there must be enough people in the national security apparatus to go, we maybe want to have something, as a backup and to back up this paper, to back up these digital tokens. And they know that thing is Bitcoin. They know that the scarcity, the absolute limit of it is what gives it value. And the fact that no one can change the rules. But like this guy said, the stars haven't lined up for it yet. In future, some condition will exist where the U.S. federal government says, okay, because he was talking about something like something about some theater thing with some play where there's a gun on the table and there's 3 actors. They all know it's there, but none of them reaches for it, and so nothing happens. Well, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But it means a decision needs to be made, and then the scramble is on. I don't think that decision is going to be made yet, because I think that let's reprice the gold and then put stable coins on top of that, so America stays the freedom eagle of the planet for the next 100 years, whatever they tell themselves. That's top priority. So, and in the meantime, corporations, BlackRock and these other different outfits, and wealthy people can acquire this asset relatively cheaply, while everyone else is focused on other things. Whether you hate Trump or you love Trump or you're waiting for somebody else to come and you think that guy Mamdani is going to be mayor of New York for one term, and then he's going to run for the White House. Who the fuck knows? Who knows? But lining things up so that there's a durable form of money that cannot be fucked with. That's a lot harder than it looks. That's a lot harder than it looks. But that shouldn't dissuade you, because if you're, like I said, if you're waiting for somebody else to rescue you, you've totally got it wrong. You've completely got it wrong. And even guys out that I think are smart, you have here's fucking Samson Mao. He's the guy who's running around the planet trying to get governments to adopt Bitcoin. Even he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
There's 2 parts to that question. So this cycle doesn't seem to have played out. We're behind schedule. We should have had a bull run already, a massive run up. And, we're down actually at the time of this recording. So I think this cycle, if you want to call it a cycle, is delayed. It might push into next year for whatever various reasons there are. But I think the nation state adoption is coming. We're pushing on a lot of fronts. Other companies and people are pushing too. There are concrete examples of what Bitcoin can do to benefit a country out there right now. The moves in the US, I think, have yet to propagate throughout the world. So Trump did create the SBR, but they haven't started buying yet. And we are talking with other countries to do the same. There are a few that have said they will create it. And I think it's all coming. It's really that these things happen very quickly. It's literally gradual.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen that quickly. So Samson Mao, the problem with these Bitcoin people is they're way too fucking naive. I just cannot believe when I listen to some of them how they can read the same exact things I read and come to such wildly different conclusions. But they live in a world where, upper middle class existence where thinking unpleasant thoughts and dealing with unpleasant realities is just not something that they do. It's sort of the reason why I've always said that this channel, which now is getting I think 12 views total between this and Rumble, which is good. Because I don't want a big channel, because big channels are bullshit. When you sit there and go, we're going to have a movement and we're going to come together and blah, 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 blah. Listen to me. No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck about your shitty ideas. Your ideas suck. Your fucking philosophy sucks. In order to get anything done, you need resources, you need fucking tools, skilled fucking labor, and time. That to get anything done at any point in fucking human history. I don't care if you're building the pyramids or you're fucking or you're or whatever making supercomputers today. You need someone needs resources, right? They have resources, and they're going to offer you those resources if you do the hard thing. You make the tiny transistors or whatever it is, right? And in the meantime, you got to keep the water clean. You got to keep the food growing. You got to get the food to where the fucking people are. You know what I mean? You got to keep the murders and the rapists murdering and the raping to an acceptable fucking level. You got to fill the potholes. There's a lot of shit you got to do. And you have to offer a resource, money, for people to do this, right? The more efficient that is and more reliable that system is, the more powerful your country is, okay? Until you get to where we are today, where the Jews, the Wall Street financialized the entire fucking economy. When they shipped the blue collar jobs, the manufacturing jobs to China in the 80s and 90s, okay, and sending the like all the medical all the drugs and medicine shit come from fucking India. Like comes from China too, but when they financialized the most important parts of the economy, now we're fucked. Now we're like stone fucked. What are we going to do? We can't bring it back. And even the Chinese now, the Chinese are selling their old factories to Cambodia and Vietnam. You know what I mean? The Vietnamese are like, yeah, we'll make that stuff because the Chinese don't want to work in factories anymore. But we can't rebuild that overnight. We can't. It would take decades. It would take decades and decades. And you would have to pay people a lot of money, to build those skills and to do all that dangerous, hard, nasty shit to fucking to rebuild those industries. And we're not going to do that. Okay, Wall Street doesn't want to do that. Their fantasy is AI is going to become like sentient. And I didn't download the video because it's too fucking long and stupid. But this AI fucking advocate is like, imagine a new country appears on the face of the earth and it's full of geniuses, and that's AI. And so we can't have a new country because the earth is full. But in cyberspace, we can have all these genius level Einstein people making decisions, and they're going to change the whole world and blah. It's agentic AI, and it's going to do. Yeah, well, you can have all the fucking genius ideas. They're not genius ideas. You can have all the genius ideas in the world, but who's going to carry it out? Who the fuck is going to carry it out? That's what you're missing. Who is going to do the things? Who's going to build the bridges and the fucking power plants and all of that stuff? Who is going to do it? You can dream any dream you want, and these elites have these dreams that are. It's not about ending stoop labor. It's not about increasing human dignity around the fucking world. It's not about letting people maximize their fucking lives. It's about fucking keep them in the maximize stoop labor, fucking work them like fucking slaves, extract every fucking penny of value out of them, and when they're done, toss them aside and bring in new brown ones from a different part of the planet. That's what they chose instead, and they're gonna get what they want. They're gonna push for it, and the government's gonna fucking make it happen. However, there's problems. There's obvious fucking problems with that, which are hold on, we're not quite there. We're not quite there, but what else? Where was I? Where was I? It's something. What did I want to show? This. So when the banks get destroyed, right, the white collar jobs of banking are about to go. I'm telling you, the stable coins are going to just eliminate all of this shit. Everyone's going to have stable coins on their phone. There's going to be no more bank branches. All those buildings in your town, in your city, all that commercial real estate's going to be fucking empty because no one's going to go to the bank anymore. And the big banks, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, a few others, Wells Fargo, I guess, Citibank, they're trying to get onto the stablecoin thing because Whether they know it or not, they're about to be fucking wiped out. They're about to be wiped the fuck out. Because the changes that are coming are super obvious. Not obvious to the dumb fucks who did this. In New York, there's a picture of Indian Point nuclear power plant, which they were screaming to close for decades and decades. They finally closed it in 2021, and now they're warning that New York City is going to have blackouts as early as next summer. I can't believe that that it took this long. I thought for sure that New York City would have blackouts before this, but the power consumption of New York City is very high, and you're gonna have blackouts. And when New York City has blackouts, bad shit happens. Bad shit happens. In the meantime, on federal facilities, U.S. Army moves forward to its project to place nuclear microreactors on installations. These new types of small nuclear reactors are going to power, data centers and AI and military facilities, and they'll have all the juice in the world, and you'll be living in a fucking blackout system where, and if you think the blackouts, like the riots of the 60s were bad, this is what it looks like today, and we still have electricity in New York. Remember, we still have electricity in New York. The stores are full of food, air conditioning works, everything's still, the elevators still work, okay? And that's what it looks like, okay? I don't know how common that is, but if you think Mad Max was a wild dystopian future, you just wait, buckle up, because the real dystopian future, once New York City starts having blackouts next year, if they're correct, and they're probably correct in guessing how much power is drawn, it's going to be interesting. And everyone's going to go, oh, it's Mom Dummy, it's this, it's that, and you're fucking missing it entirely, because playing red team, blue team is the way you're guaranteed to fucking lose. Guaranteed to lose. What else we got? Trinidad, a lot of data centers going in the outskirts of big cities. Their capacity requirements are surely making locals pay more in utilities. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They're saying, I got to refresh the fucking page. Yeah, they're driving, like electricity costs driving up across the country. And it's not because people aren't paying their bills, it's because fucking AI and data centers are using so much fucking electricity. But that's where these small nuclear reactors are going to come in. And the amount of money they're going to spend on it is like fucking, I don't know, mind-blowingly fucking high. Like, I don't know how much. Here's like, speaking of AI and data centers, OpenAI is going to spend $400 billion to build 5 Stargate data centers in the US. The Stargate data center is something in Texas that's like, I don't know, they say it's going to cost $500 billion. I don't know. Or 50 billion. I don't know what the fuck it's going to cost, some eye-popping number. But OpenAI, where are they getting the $400 billion? It's a computer program that is apparently free. So where are they getting $400 billion in capital? Takes direct aim at Microsoft and Meta in the battle for AI supremacy. So Microsoft is going to be spending $1 gazillion. Meta, Facebook is going to be spending $1 gazillion fucking dollars, right? Google's going to be spending $1 gazillion dollars, right? Nvidia, all of the, like, just the amount of fucking money is like you won't be able to fucking count it. That's why I tell you to fucking buy nuclear power stocks. I'm at the end of the year. I'm going to show you like literally every fucking nuclear power stock in America is up like at least fucking 75%, like at least 75%. And some of them are like 400%, 600%. If you're, no matter who wins, whether it's Mark Zuckerberg or what's his name, Sam Altman or whoever fucking, or Jeff Bezos, like, no matter which one's the real big winner or Larry Ellison, they're all going to need an insane amount of fucking electricity, okay? And you would rather take your little slavery coupons and park them in Cameco or fucking, what are all the fucking nuke stocks, whatever, like Constellation Energy or all the different ones. You can go look them up. Oklo, fucking all the different ones I've shown. You can park your dollars there and do extremely well in the next 10 or 15 fucking years, like extremely fucking well. And that would be the best thing you can do. And I don't know where you are relative with the family and retirement or whatever, but that would be a smart fucking move. It would be a real smart fucking move, because no matter which one of those cocksuckers wins, they're going to need a lot of electricity to make that happen. And in the race to make that happen, the amount of electricity generated is going to be fucking eye-popping. And the amount of money poured into this is going to be eye-popping. Talking about data centers, I saw a fucking reel where somebody said that the guys who set up data centers, the engineers who set up data centers, are being flown around the country on private jets. When they're done with one data center, they get on a private jet and they're flown to the next fucking location. They're being flown on PJs all around the United States, right? These electrical engineers and these electricians. Like I said, the dream of the elites to have a digital country of Einsteins, which are going to solve all their problems, is a delusional, retarded fucking dream, because the real world, like I said, requires resources and time and commitment, and skilled fucking labor to do shit. You want to build the pyramids, you don't build the pyramids with stupid retards. You build that's a fucking engineering feat that lasts forever. It's not done by dummies. It's not done by fucking grunt labor. Yes, there's grunt labor involved, of course, but there's a lot of people need to make a lot of money in the meantime. And so the reality of the fact that cities like New York are going to become a fucking hellhole, and you can play Mamdani versus Cuomo and Curtis Lee versus Donald Trump, or you want to play red team, blue team, you don't belong here. You really don't fucking belong here. Okay? It's who has the resources, what are their fucking goals, and how are they expending those resources, and how do you benefit from that? Because you ain't changing nothing. Nick Fuentes is going to be debating with fucking Tucker Carlson over who's a bigger anti-Semite, or what. I don't even know what the fuck they're going to do. All that stupid shit's going to happen in the background. Stay the fuck away from it. Just stay away from it. There's fucking no point in getting anywhere near that. Understand that, when PayPal's partner accidentally makes a $300 trillion appear overnight, or at the click of a button, that might happen again in the future, and prices might skyrocket, and then they suck the digital tokens out of the fucking system, and then prices come back, and if you're depending on them, if you're depending on government digital currencies, you're in trouble.
But generally, you tell them to embrace it?
I'm telling countries, accept reality. Fiat money is moving digital. The developments in crypto, both unbacked and backed, they're happening with exponential speed. So yeah, you can try to lock your country away from this. Good luck with it. So yes, I'm telling my members, understand it, and then decide for yourself how you're going to operate in this world. But do not close your eyes to reality.
Well, she's right. And don't close your eyes to the reality that digital fiat is still fucking fiat. Digital fiat is still fiat. And here's, uh, I'll leave you with this because this chick is making, she's making a point she doesn't think she's making, or at least I'm going to use her to make a point that is not so obvious.
And so I was traveling in Asia last month, and I realized when I was boarding onto the plane, they didn't need my boarding pass. Instead, it was just facial recognition technology. And I was thinking, I did not consent to this. I didn't consent to them using my biometrics. But then I realized that once you check in using your passport, that's how they already know what you look like, and they've already scanned your features in your face. So instead of using a boarding pass, all I had to do was walk through, and they already recognized which seat I was in. When I was hosting at the APEC Summit in Beijing in 2013, they didn't even need a badge to scan in back then. They just used your face to scan in. And I was thinking, wow, this is really advanced. So can you imagine that was 12 years ago? In 2025, you can forget about anonymity because your face is already out there.
Yeah, and there's places they don't want you to go. See, there's places where you see the little dudes doing the donuts and the backflips off the police car. They're not really wanted in certain neighborhoods. And that facial recognition technology and your cell phone, the Mac ID on your cell phone, will be used to fence you in, okay? To depending on who you are and what privileges you will have access to this area and that area, and other people will not have access to either area. And they will lock you fucking down in 100 different fucking ways. And if you think, well, I'll just breeze right through it, some camera's going to grab your face and you're going to be surrounded by police who are not going to sit there, and do nothing. They're going to remind you that you don't belong here, and out you fucking go. And that's what the future's looking like. That's what the dystopian futures look like. Go back to where there's no air conditioning and no fucking electricity, and you have to fight with some fucking animals over the last packet of fucking ramen noodles, okay? And, right? You're gonna fight some Dominican dude who's fucking 6'3", and with the fucking a bad attitude over the last packet of fucking ramen noodles. Good luck, bro. Have a conversation about IQ and right-wing authoritarianism with them. See if you can fucking convince them to give up that last bit of food. You don't want that future, okay? So the future you want is not to depend on the government. And you want a future where you have more Bitcoin than you do now, right? And because we need to extend dollar dominance, and they're probably going to do the reprice the gold thing. That's what I really think is going to happen. You still have some time. You still have some, well, you always have some time. The question is, will you commit to it? And that I don't know. You're the only one that can answer that question. I can't answer that question for you. But there's no more secrets anywhere about fucking anything. There's no more, there's no outrage that's going to be farmed. Oh my God. Now the people are going to wake up. Nobody's going to fucking wake up. The people are just going to wake up. They're going to be angry. They don't have the same lifestyle they used to have. They're going to break shit and burn shit. And then once they're done, once they're exhausted, somebody's going to say, okay, here, if you do this and this and this, we'll give you a packet of ramen noodles. And they'll go along with it, okay? And they'll fucking pledge allegiance to any fucking flag they put in front of them. They'll burn the Constitution. They'll do whatever. Because it's about fucking resources, right? Who has them, and what their goals are, and what they're going to give you, assuming you can help them achieve their fucking goals. That's what all this shit's about, And what that means today is 80 gazillion, trillion, billion, zillion fucking dollars is going into AI and fucking these data centers. And electricity is going to be in such an enormously high demand that they're going to let the rest of America die while they keep their little fucking army facilities and their data centers fucking glowing bright. Okay? You can be on the correct side of that, the side that benefits, or you can starve and fight the Dominican dude. I don't give a shit. But you have enough fucking advanced knowledge. You have enough. I think I'm showing people enough of what's almost certainly coming, that you can begin to make choices which will put you in a better position in the future than you're in today. You know, better position for you, your kids, your grandchildren. I don't know what your situation is. I don't have kids. I don't have grandkids. But I don't want to be fucking 59. I don't want to be fucking 89 and fucking dying, starving, and homeless in a fucking cardboard box. That's not what I want. So I'm making different decisions. Because there's no more secrets. Everybody knows everything. The most outrageous shit that I said in the last fucking 5 years is like Candace Owens is saying stuff like that.
If you think we lost the war in Afghanistan, you just didn't know what we were fighting for. They were sent out there to guard poppy fields. Okay, poppy fields. What comes from the poppy flower? Do you guys know? Okay, do you know what happened after we lost in Afghanistan? The opioid crisis was hitting America during that. While we were guarding those poppy fields from which, you guessed it, that's we need them to build opioids. The opioid crisis hit America hard via the Sackler family. And what did the Sackler family contribute to Tel Aviv? Yeah, their school of medicine. Yeah. So we are just so blessed. Again, we were so blessed that we got to guard those poppy fields. For who? Nobody knows, but we do know that we did get an opioid crisis on the heels of it.
So, you know, there's no deep dive into the secrets of that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit. You know, peddling outrage, not going to get you where you want to be. Just not going to get you where you want to be. So, if you want things to change, you have to be in a position to change them, which means you need resources, and you probably don't have them right now, or the ones you have are controlled by someone else. The value of which is manipulated by forces outside your control. Get smarter, make better decisions, and get rid of your fucking government money, whether it's a paper coupon or it's a fucking stable coin, because that ain't going to be good for you. Not going to be good for you. And think about a biometric future, right? Because that's coming. And that's definitely fucking coming, without a doubt. And you also got to think about smashing up the like button. You've been here for 53 minutes and 7 seconds. How are you not smashing up the like button after all this time? After all this time, you need to smash up the like button. So to Virgil, Doc, Trent, Dad, anybody else lurking in the background, anybody that's going to come watch in the coming week, happy Halloween in advance. And I'll talk to you guys again next week.